Today's episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare has been a frequent sponsor of ours, and it's a product we like to promote because it's a product we use. Honing and perfecting your skills is the most important part of being a successful content creator, and Skillshare offers thousands of courses and classes ranging from video editing, photography, animation, podcasting, writing, graphic design, and so much more. Both beginners and veteran content creators can find something of use on Skillshare. Take this class, for example, portrait photography. Shoot and edit Instagram-worthy shots. Aspiring photographers can learn from professional photographer Jessica Kobisi as she takes you from first idea to final edited photo, while providing valuable tips to help you make the most out of the equipment and locations you have access to. People looking to maximize their creative efficiency can check out this course by Thomas Frank, Productivity for Creatives. Build a system that brings out your best. In this course, Frank will help you cultivate a professional mindset for anyone interested in using productive systems to help their creativity, whether in their hobbies or careers. And the first 1,000 people to click the link in our description box below will receive a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership. And after that, it's only around $10 a month. So don't wait, click that link, or else you get left behind. No skills for you. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Marissa and Teddy, and we are back to continue our reviews of WandaVision Season 1, Episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular. And this is an episode that, you tweeted it, that they're 6 for 6. I would agree with that.
Yeah, they are.
The worst part about this episode is the please stand by screen at the end, because these cliffhangers, and this one too, because this was like 33, 34 minutes, I kept checking the time thinking that we were going to see Monica Rambeau's connect, thinking that this was going to continue. We were going to see, more of what was happening in the Hex after she expanded it. But another solid episode, man. The mystery it continues.
I couldn't wait to see the connect. I was so happy when she said that he was here, or she was here, whoever it is, the connect.
Yeah, I stopped
I'm dying to know.
And I saw 16 minutes, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. We're definitely going to see Reed Richards in this episode. But
and they were like, just kidding.
Yeah, no, they pulled the rug out. People are saying that it might not be Reed Richards, that there's another character his code name is Blue Marvel. Kind of similar biography, an aerospace engineer. Also, are you familiar with Blue Marvel?
I'm actually not.
Yeah, first time I heard about it yesterday, people were saying it's not Reed, it's going to be this new guy. Whoever it is, it's definitely keeping us on our toes. But the episode as a whole, what I was most looking forward to is just the interactions between Wanda and Pietro. What do they remember? Does he remember the X-Men movies? Do
and
they
the clear
share memories?
Discrepancies between their memories, considering, the X-Men that Pietro's a part of took place decades before Wanda was even, alive.
But he has Aaron Taylor Johnson's memories, which I like everything. I like everything they're doing with him. But can this be maybe the one flaw with the show? Is maybe they're trying to do too much with him, and it is confusing. And it feels like they might just be. They brought back Evan Peters for like a shock factor, and they're just trying to give him Aaron Taylor Johnson's memories.
I think it's supposed to be confusing, though. It seems like even Wanda is fairly confused about how Pietro even exists.
Yeah, the back and forth there was fantastic. What happened to your accent?
Yeah, like she's trying to figure out what he knows, which, goes back to the fact that she doesn't necessarily know how the Hex started in the first place, or at least that's what she's saying.
My mind went right, when he started asking about her and what she's doing, my mind went right to Sword. Maybe this is what Sword had to do with. Darcy says that there's something up Hayward's sleeve. So once Wanda and Pietro started talking, I'm like, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe he brought her here.
Hayward's energy is very much my wife was banged by a superhero.
He's getting really annoying. This guy, he's acting like he doesn't know what's been going on and what happened.
Clearly, Hayward has something to hide.
Yeah,
something that I think Wanda found out, which led to why she took Vision in the first place, because she got snapped, right? Like,
yeah,
Wanda
did.
disappeared. So she wasn't around for the 5 years that they had Vision's body. Right? Or did Vision get snapped too?
Since after Infinity War, this is like a couple weeks for Wanda. Because she gets snapped, she comes back. It's
so
almost
she's like freshly killed Vision, had time reversed on her, watched him die, and then she was snapped. So she comes back, and I'm assuming she finds out, like, these experiments. I'm not surprised that she went crazy.
I like that theory because in this episode, they found out when they hacked Hayward's laptop that he wasn't tracking Wanda, he was tracking Vision.
Right.
And that's how they follow Vision, that he comes to the edge of the Hex, tries to escape. I do like that theory, that they were trying something with Vision's body.
I mean, we saw him dismantled, which is also a fairly famous comic panel. It's, I think, different. It's different circumstances, but you see Vision's body like that.
What do you guys think was the reason that he was getting dismantled? Do you think it's because he's not really alive and he's only alive in Wanda's reality?
I think they wanted to turn him into a weapon. I think they do say in Infinity War, right? I think it's Bruce who says that if you take out the stone, there's still a lot of Vision left.
Yeah, because it's Jarvis, really, too.
We have no idea what kind of technology that could be inside Vision and
I mean,
what could be repurposed. It's not like they want to save Vision. They want to use the parts of him.
Mm-hmm.
The Ultron algorithm is still inside of Vision. It's like
Yeah.
a combination of the Ultron algorithm, Jarvis, and the Mind Stone. So that was his initial purpose. They created him to be the suit of armor around the world. Maybe, after Thanos, you would think, okay, maybe this plan, maybe Tony Stark wasn't wrong about this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do need a protector. And we see how that can obviously go wrong. I do like how Sword is the new shield for Phase 4, coming out of the Infinity Saga.
Right.
And it makes sense. S.H.I.E.L.D. was more domestic. This is now intergalactic. And people were saying that the newspaper that Vision was reading during the opening, great tribute to Malcolm in the Middle, by the way, had an alien invasion on the back page.
Huh.
So maybe this will involve the Skrulls in some capacity.
I really got to start looking at these background details like that.
There's so
I got to start
many.
staring at the TVs or
Yeah,
like, I did see one that the movie theater said The Incredibles and Parent Trap on it.
I saw it was like Incredibles, 2005.
Yeah. So mid 2000s. Every line of dialogue, all the little clues, and even Pietro telling Speed and Wiccan or Billy and Tommy, "Raise hell, demon spawn."
Yeah.
What?
They're nodding to so much.
Right. Yeah, and even Pietro in this episode when he's trying to figure out how Wanda, did this. The questions, he was too curious for me, too curious for my liking. Also, my other theory now is that I don't think it's just Wanda. I think there is somebody in the shadows pushing her, possibly to break again, because look what happened after Vision's death. She's kind of losing it. Imagine Pietro even says, your dead husband can't die twice. He already has died twice. What if he dies a third time?
And she tossed him, too, after he said that.
Yeah, she did fucking throw him across the fucking carnival or the street. What if he dies a third time? And then what happens? Maybe somebody wants that to happen.
It's a different take on a villain. The way they're portraying Wanda, where she thinks she's not the villain, but in reality, villains don't think they're villains. They're trying to do what they think is right. And she's making her reality to what she wants. And now... Yeah, at first it was a town, but she was taking people hostage, and she thought maybe a couple lives I could make them happy too. They're living all cookie cutter lives, and now it's getting out of hand, and she just who knows how far this bubble just went.
Yeah, and it's clear how much she wants to be told that she's doing the right thing.
Exactly, she got so happy when Pietro said that everything's fine,
which
he doesn't care.
Also kind of read to me as him like placating her a little bit, like
playing with her, right?
He's like buttering her up so that way she'll like spill more about how the hex works in the first place.
Exactly.
Because his introduction, I was convinced I was like, oh, this is how they're bringing in the X-Men into this Marvel universe. They're gonna use this they're gonna use Wanda's reality warping in order to be like, oh, they're just kind of here now. But his actions in this episode really made me doubt that he was actually the real Pietro, especially that flashback, or not the flashback. But when
she sees his body, his corpse.
Yeah, when she sees his corpse with the bullet holes in it.
That shit is getting scary.
Because she sees the same thing with Vision earlier, a few episodes ago. And we know that Vision's dead, so I wonder if she's doing the same thing and that she just brought a different corpse. Or a different face for the corpse. No,
I really think that Evan Peters got snapped back with the snap, and Sword knows about it, and Sword sent them in to, like you said, butter up Wanda so she can spill all the guts.
There's definitely some kind of agenda there. If
100%.
At the very least he's like, how did I get here? I lived in a different universe. Or he doesn't actually seem to be aware that he lived in a different universe, but that he has a different face and that he was dead at one point.
I do hope that when they answer all these questions that his arrival in the MCU, coming from the X-Men universe, that they do give us an answer for that.
You kind of have to do that to wrap him up, at least, because if you leave that untied, then I think what I said earlier, that could be a flaw maybe. Because then it's like people still wonder what happened and what's going on with that, and they're not tying it up for a reason.
And we always assume that they would recast the X-Men, that's how you bring them in. But knowing that this movie is leading into a movie called The Multiverse of Madness,
I don't want to know what's going to happen.
There are also so many hints in the dialogue of her building bridges to other worlds. But even the Hex is just kind of a new universe in itself. And there's precedent for this, right? A lot of people have been mentioning the House of M storyline.
Yeah, and the House of M storyline begins with her going crazy because she finds out that her kids aren't real.
Eesh.
So,
oh, yeah, right. That's also what I wanted to bring up, that if these kids aren't real or something else happens to these kids...
Is this a spoiler? I don't know if people who don't read comics, should I even say Billy and Tommy's origin? this is like preceding the House of M storyline, but it's like a long time ago. Wanda and Vision, like, they take a break from being parts of the Avengers. They get married. Agatha Harkness teaches her how to use magic. And she specifically learns how to wield chaos magic. And so this magic she uses to conceive the children, which obviously Vision's a robot. She can't actually have children. She creates these children. It's later revealed that the children were created with parts of Mephisto's soul, which is like the Marvel devil.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to reclaim the parts of his soul, so her children disappear. The main thing is that eventually she manages to save them in a way, and they get reincarnated into two different boys, parts of different families, and those two boys are Speed and Wiccan, who eventually meet and become part of Young Avengers, which is how they find out they're related.
Dude, there's so much tying in you got to do. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, and they're even just seeing them in the old school costumes.
Which was great.
So accurate. I looked them up. It's like they're all spot on.
Right, and it's like they're referencing the comics like they are universes that exist.
Specifically for Wiccan, I love that Wiccan costume.
Right, and it makes you think, did these comic book universes exist? Because like you said with Evan Peters, if Scarlet Witch Elizabeth Olsen exists in that universe, it's going back to the 70s and the 80s. So it's more comic book accurate when Scarlet Witch was wearing that old school costume. And by the way, she looked great in that costume.
Yeah, she looks great in every
People
episode.
always complain that she didn't have the headgear and that other people would argue that it would look stupid, but it fits obviously with the whole Halloween theme.
I love that she said she was a Sokovian fortune teller and that Vision was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And the tension between them where he says, I'm assigned with the neighborhood watch tonight. And she goes, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's not the role that I wrote for you in this episode.
Yeah, which is so
interesting.
interesting.
And then she goes back, oh, okay.
Like
let me give him some room here.
Yeah, she clearly believes she has some modicum of control over what Vision does, which she did in the first couple episodes. Like, she clearly did. But as he's waking up or starting to see the discrepancies, which you wonder how that's possible, right? Like, what is it about Vision that's allowing him to sort of see through things even without Wanda's intervention? Or is it someone else's intervention?
Letting him see through it so she starts to get crazy.
Or how he's also able to like break through other people's delusions, like he did with Agnes in this most recent episode.
Right. I'm so lost with Agnes now because prior episode she was weary of everything going on, and now she was stuck in a time lapse or something, or she was stuck in that car.
Well, that's a character that
I've
avoided reading anything about her because I know
it might throw everything off, like
and not even
answer all the questions.
Yeah, it might answer questions, and I've been trying to avoid a lot of the like character, like Monica Rambeau is something that people have seen coming for quite some time. A lot of these normal characters eventually become superheroes,
right?
And it looks like her DNA is changing. I don't know if that's the route they're going to go for mutants, but with Agnes, somebody.
Oh shoot, dude!
Yeah,
she's making the Hex.
Right.
She's making mutants.
But that scene was very, I mean,
she was also on the border of the Hex, though. Like, that's the road that Wanda tells Billy and Tommy not to go past.
Right.
So could she have been trying to escape, but because that's the barrier of the Hex, like, she gets stuck or sort of trapped in, Wanda's not there, so the edge of the town is kind of just like
But the barrier of the Hex is where Vision was. He was still in the town with all the people that were glitching out and the girl doing the
it's like the further away you get from Wanda, the less people are doing.
The more control you have, I guess. Yeah.
That shit was very unsettling.
Yeah.
Seeing that one tear come down that woman's eye.
The get out cry, bro.
Yeah, basically. And Aaron brought that up on the last review, that it's like they're being hypnotized, like they were in Get Out.
It's not even hypnotized, it's they're trapped in their own heads.
But here's the thing. Everyone is having... There's two theories I think could be right. There's one that Wanda's behind it and one someone else is behind it, because she's saying that she's giving people happy memories and they're just like playing her game, but she's giving them happy memories in their mind. Meanwhile, everyone's hurting right now. So who really is in control? And is she lying? Is she really giving them happy memories? Or to take over their soul, she has to take the good?
In the previous episode, she tells Vision it's ridiculous that she can control an entire town. And it looks like she wasn't controlling an entire town. That the people on the outskirts were kind of just going through the motions.
Frozen.
Right. So, like I said, I do think that there could be someone else here at play. But the idea that Wanda is just trying to see how powerful she can be, or not even trying to see, but is pushed to those limits, and that it is all of just her, I wouldn't mind that either. If it is the kind of just villain origin story. But I don't think it's going to be as simple as Wanda's a bad guy now, we have to stop her.
Yeah.
I think that her being a supporting character in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it just maybe that he's trying to help her get through this? Because even in the House of M comic, they go to Doctor Strange and he's like, I can't do nothing.
Yeah, he's
about
not
this.
powerful enough. Him and Professor X, they're both not powerful enough to get rid of the House of M reality she created.
And that would make sense. Maybe if WandaVision ends, because I know the House of M, for some time in the comic book continuity, that was the universe.
Yeah.
It was Wanda's new universe.
Yeah,
So
I think now
maybe-
it's considered an Elsewheres.
Right, it's like
Yeah.
Earth, whatever, 6.
It was the
20.
reality at one point, but then they reverted back.
So I wonder if that's how WandaVision ends, where it ends with a new reality, where we get some movies and stories in this reality where some things are the same and other things are different.
So it's
Though
it's
I wonder-
Wanos? Is that her new name now? Wanos?
Wanos?
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
Though I wonder...
Is she really like this?
She
gets like this?
The way they're
Oh my
demonstrating
God.
it, man, yeah.
It's obviously not going to be like a one-to-one. The circumstances are not nearly the same. But House
Right.
of M ends with her saying no more mutants, and the mutant population going to 198, I think, is the actual number out of like millions and millions of mutants. I think it was just like, they were like, there are too many mutants in the comics. We need to do something about this.
shut it down.
Yeah.
Because X-Men storylines always get so crazy. With the expansion of her like hex around Westview, and it's clear that going back and forth through the hex like barrier does something
Yeah.
to you, like your DNA on a fundamental level. I would not be surprised knowing that Monica Rambeau already seems to have some kind of power or something has happened to her if this is how they introduce mutants. We don't know how far she's extended at the end of the episode. We just see her eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be the whole world. It could just be like maybe all of New Jersey. I don't know.
Do you think that it's going to be an Evan Peters effect, but on the whole world? So it's not only Evan Peters, it's James McAvoy, it's Michael Fassbender, it's the other young mutants that they cast being transformed. That Jean Grey exists in this world, but she's not a mutant. And then when she goes through the hex, she becomes Sansa
Yeah.
Stark or Sophie Turner Jean Grey.
Yeah, or even, I don't know, like,
Because even watching those movies, I'd rewatch Dark Phoenix just to see it.
I don't
just to
think
see
I
it.
ever saw Dark Phoenix.
They become superheroes. In the beginning, they are superheroes. They're being lauded by the public, and everyone kind of likes them. And just watching James McAvoy as that character, that's just a presence you need.
Yep.
And you need a Professor X presence. And they could recast, but he's so perfect as that role. So now my mind's gotten to, let's bring in all the other good ones.
Well, yeah, exactly. This could be their way of bringing in the good castings that they had, and not the flops.
That's the thing. The story is about Wanda.
Yeah.
So you would think the ending is going to be more personal rather than changing the MCU. The MCU has already been fucking changed.
I think whatever changes happen, which I have two theories. It's either she's expanded the hex to include maybe the entire world or a significant portion of it, or the destruction of the hex, which Darcy mentions the crazy levels of radiation involved. Mm-hmm. The destruction of the hex has some kind of ripple effect and creates mutants. That's ultimately what I think is going to happen in some shape or form.
I want to give a nod to the production too, because when Wanda does expand the hex, when she's changing everything, it all looks amazing.
Yeah, you
That shit was
understand why
scary.
this show is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
It's basically a movie.
Yeah, no, now you're starting to see the fucking budget.
Yeah.
They had all the sitcom sets that are easy to put together,
Yeah.
but now you're definitely seeing the budget. But what did you guys think about the homage to? I didn't think we would get early 2000s.
They skipped over the 90s, right?
Yeah, they fucking bopped the 90s.
It's like
Messed up, man.
it's late 90s, early 2000s, which is this.
I don't think Seinfeld fits
This is
show.
like Modern Family, though. This is like Modern Family.
I mean,
in,
they're
like, the
going-
office, talking to the camera.
Well,
they're-
it's straight Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
That's like every Malcolm in the Middle. When you pointed it out to me, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Opening the episode.
Because
talking
this
to
is
the camera.
obviously, for me, the first era that, like, is actual nostalgia that, like, I lived through.
Yeah.
Not just, like, obviously, like, you understand the references in the first few episodes, like, what shows they're nodding to, that type of thing. But this was the first one, especially with that commercial, where I was like, I feel like this is a
I feel like I've
Gushers.
seen one already.
I was like, a Gusher commercial would look like this.
Yeah, the claymation.
Or, like, Applejacks?
Yes,
Applejack commercials.
Applejack
That's what it
commercial.
reminded
This
me
is
of.
The
Yeah.
Applejack commercial.
Even looked like it, actually, the kid.
It was something that feels like it would fit that era perfectly, but it was so disturbing for this show because
Yeah.
you're thinking, oh, they're doing like he's withering away, he's gonna eat the yogurt and
And survive.
survive. No, he's just a fucking skeleton. Like he's just his dead
I've
kid.
seen so many different interpretations of what that commercial means.
Me too.
I wanted to ask what you guys thought because they veered away from Stark and Hydra, and now this looked like, and even with the other one, with Lagos, I think it was.
Yeah, Lagos.
I'm trying to figure out the meaning for those commercials.
Well, I'll take a crack at interpreting this based on what I've read on the internet and my own opinions. People pointed out that the commercial takes place over 9 days, the sunrise and the sunset, and that represents the 9 episodes of the season. And if you remember, every episode begins with them starting the day. It always begins in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you have the shark, who could represent Quicksilver, similar colors, gray, white, friendly face, outgoing, but underneath all that, a predator. And many people think that Mephisto could be disguised as Quicksilver, and this is what he's doing. He's giving her this magic, providing her this power over the course of these 9 days, which leads to, they're foreshadowing death, the death of a child.
Which I loved when Pietro was like, "Oh, so where have you been hiding all these kids?"
Right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
He's
He's
like,
asking questions that we want to ask Wanda.
Don't want to
hilarious.
traumatize, don't keep them in their beds. Don't want to traumatize them, which makes the second episode, the "for the children" refrain.
Yeah.
When now that they've pointed out, and I didn't notice in the beginning that there were no children.
Right.
And now that they pointed out, like, oh, the fact that they're all like, "for the children," where are the children?
Yeah.
Like, what is she doing to them or
Feeding
not
off
doing
children?
to them?
We said that in the last review, that Vision bringing up that there's no kids, that she was just a snap of the finger, all of a sudden there's kids running around. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
The ultimate holiday for kids.
I gotta make him real. I gotta make him think that this is real. There are kids here.
Right. I thought the episode, Evan Peters as Pietro, was hilarious. All the jokes that they're trying to do to fit the era have always landed, and it was no different in this episode, man. His interaction
Cool
with
uncle.
the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vision saying, "I didn't know your brother was so good with the shotgunning the iced tea cans."
And I love that the kids, obviously in this type of show format, they're like the lens, like they're talking to the camera, because that's, how Malcolm in the Middle works, that type of show that in the late 90s, 2000s era.
It's the little details in this show, and then also the world building that they're doing, or the world creation that they're doing now.
So we talked last review that Vision actually is alive, you guys think, because she put him together. But I want to know why he was getting pulled back like that. Is it the spell she put on the Hex that was a lot stronger than maybe?
I
And
think
he can't make it out? Or is he actually dead and it's just Wanda's reality?
I think he can't exist outside of the Hex. I
Yeah.
think whatever magic she used to bring him together only works within the Hex.
Does he have the stone? And
Within the Hex, I think it's an illusion of the stone.
Yeah.
Down to the last detail.
Yeah.
So your idea is that he can't live outside of the Hex.
Yeah.
And the Hayward angle is very intriguing to me, because he's tracking him. We think that he may have been experimenting on him, but as he's leaving the Hex, he doesn't help him. So, I guess he doesn't.
You would think he'd want him to come out. Like, he's trying to come out to, help. He wants to help.
Maybe
he yells.
Maybe
they
he's
need
not
help.
supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Maybe Hayward is just...
Maybe he just wants to see that Vision, whatever they were doing to him, if they can't recover him, maybe that he's just destroyed. And I think that partially has to do with that Wanda has some kind of knowledge about what they were doing to Vision. And at the very least, if he can't recover Vision, he'll kill Wanda and make sure Vision no longer exists.
Why I wish...
Or it would be even better, because then if Vision tries to escape and is destroyed in the process, what will Wanda do at that point? Like, she might be a problem that resolves itself for him.
Well, I was worried because, is it Billy? Billy is Wiccan?
Yes.
I was worried because Billy told her that they have guns pointed at him. So I thought Vision was going to die right there, and that was going to set off like a nuke on her head.
I
that she
really
was ready
thought
to kill.
Vision was going to die in
Me
this
too.
moment again.
Yeah, I thought
felt
so too.
so bad for Wanda, and I felt so bad for the people that were going to be around for the aftermath.
Misinterpretations here.
Yeah.
It wasn't us.
And like I said, it was so disturbing to see him ripped apart like that when he cradles up like a baby, just waiting for death.
Yeah.
then
And
the
he's
Hex-
still, he knows he's being destroyed, but he's still trying to crawl through because of all the people that are being held hostage inside.
I wish his memory wasn't suppressed too, because Agnes says, "You're an Avenger." And he's like, "Yes, I'm Vision, but what's an Avenger?" Wanda should give him his memory back and let him decide. I wish.
Oh, but when he finds out that he's dead, and Agnes is like,
"You're dead."
"But you're dead. Am I dead?" And he's like, "What do you mean I'm dead?"
He was pissed as in the previous episode when he started to figure things out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that moment. I
That
loved
was
it.
great, the fight.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that if Vision, if he loses it as well, then you have two superheroes who are...
Like last review, I said that's the one thing Vision asks is he doesn't want to be anyone's puppet. Because that's what Ultron tried to do. And,
Yeah, he doesn't want to be used as a weapon
Yeah.
after his death.
and that's what Hayward's trying to do, and now that's what Wanda's not trying to
Which
do.
is super sus that
he's in
Hayward
control.
was the one that said that, and then you see the security footage and you see, like, he's torn apart. They were clearly doing something to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, that he was resting in peace, right? No, they had him on the fucking.
Dude, I swear to God, I was just about to say, where's Stark right now? He needs Stark. I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, I don't think that man's coming to the
I
rescue.
don't
here.
think so either.
But at this point, I keep saying it. Doctor Strange has to show up. You would think he makes an appearance, man.
Yeah.
That-
Is he
One
next?
of his secretaries or assistants would say, "Hey, you know what's happening right now in New Jersey?
Well, you would think he would know.
You should pop in." Right, yeah. Because this is your territory, man. This isn't just... And I also think it could be a combination of Wanda's powers and barf technology or some sort of simulation technology. It doesn't seem purely magical. It's like a combination. It's just not her red wiggly woos, as Pietro calls them. But there's so many fucking questions that I just can't wait to see where all these characters end up.
And it's a total of 9 episodes, right? So we only got 3 left. Oh, I found it really
Herb?
interesting
What about
that
Herb?
Billy knew what was happening with Vision before Wanda did, which
Maybe that was done purposely by whoever's there.
I also think
Kind
it
of
points.
shielding Wanda from that. But with Billy, it feels like maybe it's because he is connected to Mephisto that he could sense that magic, and Mephisto didn't take that into account. But it also feels like all of this was done very meticulously. Like the pieces were placed. Vision was put in this position so that Wanda could expand the Hex. And it almost feels like this is something that Hayward wanted too.
Or even, it makes me wonder, she created them. Like, she had to have created them. She did. But it also makes you wonder, similar to Vision, how much power she actually holds over her children, too.
Well, she says when she was trying to get them to sleep, "Why won't you do what I'm asking you?"
Yeah. Like,
What
her
I
magic,
ask of
we
you.
saw, at least when they were babies, didn't work on them.
Right.
But, like, she was able to stop Tommy when he was, like, running super fast type of thing.
That's I'm convinced that they are giving us all of these breadcrumbs for a reason.
Yeah.
That every line of dialogue, like I said, every hidden clue is going to add up to the full picture. Or maybe it doesn't, but we get pieces of that fuller picture that's going to be filled out in other properties, like you said, Doctor Strange movie. But there's just so many fucking things going on in this show. I don't know what to make of a lot of it.
I saw a theory that Agnes isn't like a witch. She's Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
Well,
She's Doc Ock from the Spider-Verse.
yeah.
I said on the last review that it feels like every decision this character makes and the lines of dialogue, the things that she has said, implies that she is manipulating Wanda. Everyone assumes that she is a villain, but I've also read and heard that their relationship isn't necessarily good guy versus bad guy in the comics.
I would say that the relationship in the comics is at least mostly, it's like, the thing is, like, in the comics, Wanda oscillates between villain and supervillain, being possessed and all these different things. So, like, her relationship with Agatha Harkness as, like, a character also oscillates between whatever side she's on at the current moment. It's not necessarily, like, negative, but it's not necessarily positive either. Like, her role is very much, like, kind of mysterious in this. Like, she does teach Wanda magic, but, like, what Wanda ends up doing with that magic is a different story altogether.
I don't know, because Wanda says she felt lonely and she pretty much woke up and then this happened and she's controlling it. So,
Well, that's the thing. Anything that any of these characters say, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
yeah.
Because with Wanda, she could be being manipulated. With Hayward, he could just be keeping secrets. So, what does she say? A bottomless well of sadness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got this? That's why I think that she is being manipulated. And Pietro's like, how about we even go deeper? Are you sure it's bottomless? Let's see. And let's see what you can do here. Because look what she did when she thought Vision was going to die. What will she do if Vision does die? Or if her fucking kids are taken from her?
He's not going to die. She won't
Which
let it
I'm
happen.
convinced something is going to happen to the kids. Because maybe on some level she can accept that Vision isn't permanent, like this version of him. But, like, she created her children, and maybe she wants to keep them, or maybe she can't handle the idea that they wouldn't exist outside of the Hex, which we don't know. We don't know if they would exist outside of the Hex, because she warns them not to leave that road. But it could also just be like, you know, there is an entire military operation outside of this bubble. So, you know, maybe don't go past there. After the episode, I Googled to see if Darcy became anything. She's not a comic book character. I think she
Right.
was created in the first Thor movie as just kind of like comedic relief.
They make
Yeah.
her rogue. Imagine.
Imagine.
Next episode, she's got the white streak in her hair, just touching people and making them die like the Yo Magic kid. No, yeah, I think it was turned into a carnival. So the helicopter was turned into a hot air balloon.
Yeah, that was great.
And
I love the memes that came out of that.
The soldiers got brought into a clown.
Well, Wanda was saying, y'all are acting like clowns, and I'm turning you into the whole circus. That was a funny tweet. So we'll see if it is the intrigue here is Darcy now an X-Men?
She
are these
found
characters
out.
Mutants? Or does it take like a couple back and forths?
And even like the people inside, like they've been exposed for so long. So what is that type of exposure doing to them?
We'll get 10 answers and then we'll get 30 more questions out of it.
Right, yeah. Next week we're going to just bring in like actual comic book writers. We brought in Marissa for her knowledge in comics, but we just need Jack Kirby.
Yeah, Marissa, you said that the Mind Stone is an illusion, but I think it might be real because it wasn't getting pulled back when Vision was trying to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. And I wonder if maybe if it's not an illusion, she just created her own Mind Stone because her powers do come from the Mind Stone. But yeah, no, we'll definitely have to see. There's that one shot from one of the trailers. We'll just end the review. All right, guys, that does it for this review of WandaVision, Episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular. Leave your thoughts, your theories, your comments in the old comment section below. And we'll be back next week for Episode 7, and then Episode 8 after that, and then Episode 9. Marvel's got us by the old cojones. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Beau Oliver, and I support this message.